Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the high-stakes, high-tech race to build the literal future of labor, humanoid robots. A revolution is brewing, and it's being led by machines that look and move just like us. And just to get a sense of the scale here, look at the numbers. The AI robotics market is projected to hit nearly $183 billion by 2033. Now, this isn't some slow and steady growth. We're talking about a full-on explosion, all fueled by these huge leaps in artificial intelligence. And it's not just tech startups getting excited. The big money is taking notice. Goldman Sachs recently multiplied its 2035 market forecast for humanoid robots by 6. Yeah, 6. They jumped from an already impressive $6 billion to a massive $38 billion. That's a huge signal that this revolution is coming way faster than anyone thought. So what's driving all this? What's the catalyst? It's pretty simple. Cost. In just the last year, the cost to actually manufacture one of these incredibly complex machines has plummeted by 40%. All of a sudden, what felt like pure science fiction is starting to become economically viable. Okay, so the gold rush is officially on. But here's the thing, this isn't a single file line. We are seeing 3 very different philosophies, 3 real titans, all competing to define this brand new era of automated work. But before we can really get into the players, we have to understand the fundamental conflict at the heart of this race. How do you actually build a robot's brain? It turns out there are 2 competing schools of thought here, and honestly, they couldn't be more different. So the first approach is the Visual Language Action Model, or VLA for short. The best way to think about this is like giving the robot a recipe book and teaching it how to read. It doesn't just see a bunch of pixels, it understands concepts like cup or table, and it can actually reason its way through the steps to complete a task, like pick up that red cup. And then you have the second path, the end-to-end, or E2E model. Now, if VLA is about following a recipe, E2E is more like learning to cook by feel. It is a pure imitation game. The robot's eyes are basically wired directly to its motors, letting it translate what it sees into action with incredible speed. There's no thinking step in between. So here's the crucial trade-off. On one side, VLA models are kind of like a glass box. They reason, and you can understand their decision-making process. On the other side, E2E networks are a black box. They are blazingly fast and fluid, but they need a mind-boggling amount of data. And sometimes they can hallucinate, which can lead to unpredictable and, potentially dangerous actions. Okay, so with that whole brain debate in mind, let's dive in and see how it all plays out with our 3 main contenders. Each one is betting big on a different path to victory. First up, you've got the Pioneer, the one you've definitely seen in all those viral videos doing backflips, Boston Dynamics. Now, backed by Hyundai, they're taking a heavy-duty industrial-first approach. They are not trying to build you a personal assistant, they're building a superhuman factory worker. And their new all-electric Atlas is an absolute beast. Forget just imitating humans. With joints that can spin a full 360 degrees, it can move in ways that are just physically impossible for us, which makes it incredibly efficient. It's also waterproof, can lift 110 pounds, and get this, it can swap its own battery in under 3 minutes for true 24/7 operation. Their strategy really reflects this industrial focus. See, you don't just go out and buy an Atlas, you subscribe to it. It's a robot-as-a-service model where Boston Dynamics provides a tireless worker that just plugs right into a factory's existing workflow, and they're starting with their parent company, Hyundai. Next up, we've got Tesla and its Optimus robot. And true to form, they're running the classic Silicon Valley playbook. Forget niche industrial markets, let's go for massive, world-changing scale. The goal is to drive down costs and put a robot in every business, and maybe, eventually, every home. But that dream of a robot that costs less than $30,000, it hinges on a massive challenge. A Morgan Stanley analysis shows that Tesla is kind of caught in a supply chain dilemma. If they build Optimus with the proven, low-cost Chinese components, the price tag is around $46,000. But if they're forced to use a non-Chinese supply chain, whoa, that cost nearly triples to over $130,000. And look, despite the constant stream of impressive demos on social media, here's a little reality check. In a recent earnings call, Elon Musk himself admitted that as of the end of 2025, not a single Optimus robot was performing any real, economically valuable tasks inside a Tesla factory. The hype is still way out ahead of the reality. All right, finally, let's turn to the agile disruptor from China,
Unitree Robotics. They are not trying to build the most powerful robot or even the smartest robot. Instead, they are completely rewriting the rules of the game with a laser focus on price and accessibility. And you can just see the sheer audacity of Unitree's pricing right here. While Boston Dynamics is aiming for that super high-end industrial market at around $150,000 and Tesla is shooting for $25,000, Unitree is already selling a capable humanoid for under 14 grand. They've basically turned a piece of high-end equipment into something a university lab or even a serious hobbyist can actually afford. And this aggressive strategy? It is paying off in a huge way. In 2025, Chinese companies completely dominated the market, accounting for a staggering 80% of all humanoid robots shipped worldwide. And leading that charge was Unitree, which sold over 5,500 units all by itself. So let's move on to a direct comparison. Let's really see how these three clashing strategies stack up side by side. This table just lays out the core differences perfectly. You have Boston Dynamics, the elite, heavy-duty specialist using Google's reasoning-based AI. Then you have Tesla, the big visionary betting everything on its imitation-based E2E model and trying to achieve mass production. And then there's Unitree, just playing the volume game, using an open-source model to try and become the Android platform for robotics. And they are selling thousands of them right now. But no matter which horse you are backing in this race, the entire industry is facing three massive hurdles that need to be cleared before any of these robots become a common sight. First, there's a severe shortage of the physical training data you need to teach these things. Second, there are strict new international safety standards that are forcing companies to rethink their designs to make sure robots can work safely next to people. And finally, there's this great paradox. The US is creating the most advanced AI brains, but China completely dominates the supply chain for the physical bodies. And all of this brings us to the ultimate question. Because this isn't just a race between companies, it's a race between philosophies that will determine what kind of future this technology builds for all of us. So who wins? Is it going to be the elite industrial expert from Boston Dynamics creating superpowered tools for specialists? The mass market visionary in Tesla trying to replace human labor at scale? Or the open source platform from Unitree that's trying to democratize the technology for everyone? The answer to that question is going to define the next century of labor.